They will tell you it's impossible. They'll tell you it's about numbers, strategy, statistics. But the reason you're not winning the lottery has nothing to do with chance. The reason is simple. You are still imagining yourself as someone who hasn't won. That's it. That's the only reason. The moment you occupy the state of one who has already received, the outer must comply. It is law, it is exact, and it is always reflecting back who you believe yourself to be. You think the numbers will make you feel rich, but it is feeling rich that brings the numbers. You believe the win will finally give you peace, but it is peace that precedes the win. You walk the world as a seeker, and the world mirrors back the seeking. But once you stop seeking and begin assuming, everything begins to move. Everything bends to the self you've dared to claim. The winner is not someone out there who got lucky. The winner is the one who became it first in imagination. This world is not made of physical events. It is made of assumptions made solid. The unseen shapes the scene. And so if you want to change the scene, you must first master the unseen. You're not failing to win because you're cursed, unworthy, or forgotten. You're failing because you're living from the wrong identity. You still see yourself as the person who plays, who waits, who hopes. But the one who has won feels no need to hope. He already is. She already has. And that is the gap. The moment you begin to imagine, you are given a choice. Continue to identify as the one without, or boldly step into the reality of the one who already has. If you dare to say, I have won, and truly feel it, the entire structure of your world begins to shift to match that claim. But if you still say, when will it happen? You remain outside the gate. You may have seen the promise, but you have not entered the land. You must live from the end, not toward it. Stop imagining the path and start imagining the outcome. Don't see yourself buying the ticket. See yourself holding the result. Hear the voice say, congratulations. Smell the paper in your hand. Feel the pulse of realization move through your chest. Let that inner moment be so vivid, so overwhelming, that it drowns out all doubt. That is prayer. That is the only creative act. And if you say, but I've done that, then I ask you, how often? How long did you dwell in the state before you checked your phone, looked at your bank account, and let the old man speak again? Imagination is not a one-time effort. It is the home you live in. If you touch the state but retreat, the seed cannot grow. But if you abide in it, if you let it root in your soul, the harvest is inevitable. You are not changing your outer life. You are changing your self-concept. And once you change who you believe yourself to be, you cannot help but change what you experience. A millionaire cannot think like a struggler. A lottery winner cannot feel like a beggar. So don't ask the world to shift while you remain the same. Step into the version of yourself that already has everything you want, and watch the world rise to meet it. There is no power outside of consciousness. You don't need luck. You don't need more effort. You need only to persist in the assumption that the lottery win is yours and has been yours all along. That's how you change it, by changing who you are now. Not later, not after another book or another method. Now. Go into the silence. Close the door to the world and claim it, not as a hope, not as a future event, but as your present identity. Say it is done and mean it. Feel the relief, the joy, the security. That feeling is the bridge. Stay there, live there, be there, and everything you desire must come, because it has no choice. The world is yourself pushed out. You believe you are imagining abundance, but what you are truly entertaining, what you are most familiar with in consciousness, is lack. It hides itself in innocent thoughts, in daily words, in the quiet reactions you let slip. You say, I want to win, and believe this is enough. But to want is to confess that you do not have. And what you are not, you cannot express. Your world is not moved by what you occasionally think. It is shaped by what you constantly feel yourself to be. If you live in the quiet tension of waiting, if you measure time by how long it has taken to manifest, then you are not dwelling in abundance, you are confirming lack. And the outer world has no choice but to reflect that hidden conviction. It mirrors you with such precision that even the smallest assumption, when repeated, becomes your reality. To imagine abundance, you must do more than picture money. You must feel yourself already free from concern. You must feel yourself already lifted, already secure, already grateful. But most do not live there. They visit abundance like tourists, then go back to the familiar home of not enough. They dwell more often in states of hoping, waiting, comparing, and doubting than they do in the still, confident knowing of I already am. The truth is simple. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot say, I believe, while inwardly preparing for disappointment. If you are thinking of the win, but feeling the absence of it, the feeling will always prevail, because feeling is the true prayer. It is what you are emotionally loyal to, not what you recite, that builds the framework of your experience. Lack is a subtle companion. It doesn't always shout. It often whispers. It whispers through your reactions when someone else wins and you feel left out. It speaks when you check your bank account and feel tension. It shows its face when you imagine abundance, but immediately ask how or when it will arrive. These are not questions of a person living in abundance. These are confessions from someone still convinced of separation from their desire. To move out of lack is not to beg abundance to appear. It is to rise in consciousness and occupy the state where lack is no longer possible. That state exists within you now, but you must claim it. You must wear it like a garment and refuse to take it off even when the evidence outside tempts you to doubt. That is the discipline, that is the work. And it is not done through effort, it is done through assumption. When you know who you are, the world cannot make you forget it. When you truly feel yourself to be abundant, then lack, even when it shows up as a temporary condition, no longer disturbs you, because you are not moved by appearances. You are rooted in being, and being does not seek, it expresses. You are not abundant because you receive. You receive because you are abundant. The cause is always inward, always. What is outside is simply the shadow. The shadow may be late, but it must appear. It is not the origin, it is the echo. And it always arrives in the likeness of the sound that made it. So if your world echoes struggle, do not curse the shadow, change the sound. You have within you the power to move from lack to wealth, not by anything you do externally, but by what you claim internally. You do not need to take more action. You need to take a new position in imagination. You must sit at the table as though the feast were already yours, not ask for an invitation. Be the host. Walk through your world as one who has already received, and let your feelings match the quality of your assumption. The moment you say, but I don't feel it, you have located yourself again in lack. But your task is not to feel it by force. Your task is to choose the state and rest in it until it becomes natural. You are not faking, you are shifting. Just as an actor becomes his role, you must become your desire. And once you become it inwardly, the world must bend to reflect it. No one is holding back your abundance. No hand in the sky is withholding your win. There is no external force testing you or delaying your reward. The only delay is the persistence of the wrong state. You cannot think your way into a new life while feeling like the same old self. The outer change waits for the inner change. The law is perfect. It responds not to your effort, not to your words, but to your inner conviction of being. Even now you can test this. Ask yourself honestly and without judgment what feeling you live from each day. Do you feel like the person who is already chosen, already favored, already wealthy? Or do you feel like one who is reaching, trying, needing? One state will never produce the other. You cannot reap abundance from the field of lack. You must plant new seed. You must imagine from a new height. There is a version of you already living the life you seek. That version does not beg. That version does not wait. That version does not wonder if it will happen. It assumes it did. It remembers it as done. And this is the great invitation. You are not being asked to build a new world with your hands. You are being called to awaken to the one already prepared in your imagination. That world, that version of self, becomes real the moment you occupy it. Not just once, not for a minute, but long enough for it to become your new home. Let your thoughts return there often. Let your speech come from that place. Let your reactions reflect the confidence of one who has already won. And watch as the outer begins to echo the inner, not because you forced it, but because you finally became it. You believe that someone wins the lottery by numbers, by odds, by fate, but nothing could be further from the truth. The true cause is never outside you. It is not in the machine, not in the drawer, not in any mathematical formula. The only formula is identity. That which you are, you express. That which you assume yourself to be, you become. So long as you think like someone who wishes to win, you are not yet the one who has won. And as long as you are not that in consciousness, the world cannot bring it to pass. The world only knows you by the state you occupy. It listens not to your words, but to your identity. What are you being now? Are you being the one who has it, or the one still waiting? Are you being the one who rejoices in the result, or the one who hopes for the future? You may say the right words, you may even believe you are doing all the right things, but if you still walk with the thoughts, feelings, and reactions of the person who lacks, then that is who you are to the law, and the law never errs. To become the winner does not mean to act externally. It means to feel internally. It means to wear the inner tone of the one who has already received the prize. There is a mood that belongs to the fulfilled man. There is a posture, an ease, a confidence. It is not pretended. It is natural to the one who knows, not hopes. This is the identity you must claim. You must strip yourself of the old man, the one who needs, who waits, who prays for change, and clothe yourself with the feeling of already having. This is not imagination in the sense of fantasy. This is imagination as creation. You are not dreaming it to escape life. You are imagining it to give life. The moment you dare to become it within, the world begins to echo that change. Most are trying to get things to happen to them. But the truth is, nothing happens to you until it happens through you. If it has not occurred in imagination, it cannot occur in the world. If it has not been accepted in identity, it cannot be received in hand. The man who wins the lottery has already lived the result long before the event. He has felt the check. He has heard the calls of congratulation. He has seen the expressions on the faces of others, and he has accepted it all as natural. If you still feel like a stranger to wealth, if the idea of winning feels distant or impossible, then that is the identity you must shed. Not by fighting it, but by simply refusing to return to it. If you visit the state of wealth but retreat back into doubt, then you are not yet established in the new self. To become the winner is not to beg the world, it is to command the self. You must stand still and know it is done. That knowing is the creative act. You do not need to change anything but the man within. And you do this by assuming a new center of thinking, feeling, and being. Begin now. Close your eyes and listen. What do you hear when you have won? What does your day look like? What are your new thoughts, your new decisions? How do you move? How do you speak? There is a version of you that exists in that future, but he is not separate from you. He is within you, waiting to be expressed. That version does not check the numbers in fear. That version does not question whether he is worthy. That version does not hope. He remembers, he accepts, he rests, because he has already become what he once sought to be. This is how you move mountains, not by pushing the outside, but by becoming the one who lives beyond the mountain. To identify with the winner is not to pretend to be something you are not. It is to stop pretending to be something you never were. You were never the small one. You were never the struggler. You were never the forgotten soul. That was a mask. That was a garment of belief. But underneath it all, you have always been the creator of your world. You have always been the seed of your own harvest. Begin now to dwell in the feeling of the one who has received. Speak as that person. Think as that person. Give as that person. You do not need to wait until the money appears to live in that identity. In fact, the appearance comes only after the identity is assumed. The law has never been reversed. The inner always precedes the outer. The seed always comes before the fruit. So if you want to change the fruit, plant a new seed. Stop measuring time. Time is only the interval between identity and expression. The only reason for delay is that the old man still lingers. But the moment you let go of him, the moment you decide to no longer think, feel, and speak from the old place, the shift begins. You become the cause, and the world becomes your reflection. It is not a question of trying harder. Trying is the voice of the unfulfilled man. The fulfilled man does not try, he allows, he accepts, he assumes. And because he assumes, the world rushes to confirm it. You are not becoming something foreign. You are remembering who you truly are and choosing to live from that place now. It says, if the lottery feels far away, you are too far from your true self. Come closer, not by effort, but by surrender. Let go of needing, let go of hoping, let go of wondering. Simply be. Be the one who has already won. Walk your world from that inner place, and you will discover the outer has no choice but to follow. There is no greater power in the universe than the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is not the thought, not the wish, nor the want. It is the feeling. You see, the feeling is the language of the inner world, and the inner world creates the outer. Whatever you feel most deeply and consistently is what your world will echo back to you. If you wish for something but do not feel as though it is already yours, then it cannot be. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the creative act. To long for it, to desire it, to wish it is not enough. You must assume it in your very being. You must become it within yourself, and only then will it manifest in the world around you. You've been told that to achieve something you must work for it, strive for it, plan for it. But the greatest achievement is not found in effort, it is found in assumption. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the key. And once you understand this, all doors will open to you. For the law is simple. What you feel, you become. And the power of assumption lies in your ability to feel the end result before it has manifested physically. The moment you can feel it, you are in the state of fulfillment, and from that state, all things become possible. Imagine for a moment that your desire, whether it be wealth, health, success, or the lottery win, is already fulfilled. How do you feel? What is your internal state when you are living in the end result? Does the idea of winning the lottery bring you peace, security, and excitement? Then that is the reality you must live from. You must feel the joy, the relief, the excitement of already having won. Do not wait for the outer to change before you feel that feeling. Do not delay your joy for tomorrow. Feel it today, in this moment, with all the intensity and clarity you can muster. The outer world must reflect what you are assuming to be true. If you assume your desire is fulfilled, it must express itself in the physical world. It is easy to become entangled in the illusion that what you see is what is real, but what you see is only the reflection of what you have assumed in your mind. The outer world is a mirror to the inner. It cannot reflect what you do not first feel. That is why it is so important to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not as a fleeting thought, but as a permanent state of being. You must live in that state, walk in that state, think in that state, feel in that state. until there is no separation between the inner and the outer. Only then does the manifestation occur. And it occurs effortlessly because you are no longer waiting for it to come. You are already living in it. Most people spend their lives waiting for the outer world to change before they feel differently. They say, when I win the lottery, I will feel rich, or when I have the money, I will finally feel secure. But this is backward thinking. You must first feel rich. You must first feel secure. You must first feel the relief of having your desire fulfilled. And once you do, the outer world must change to match it. You do not wait for your external circumstances to change before you feel differently. You change your feeling first, and the world will follow. The reason why so many people fail to manifest their desires is that they are not truly assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. They are still living in the state of desire, of wanting, of needing. They are still identifying with the lack of their desire. But the moment you step into the state of the wish fulfilled, the moment you feel that it is already yours, you are no longer in need, you are no longer wanting, you are no longer waiting. You are living as the one who has already received. And from that state, the universe must bring the manifestation into physical form. You must recognize that the feeling of the wish fulfilled is not a temporary state, but a permanent state of being. It is not something you can do for a few moments and then return to the world of lack and limitation. No, the feeling of the wish fulfilled must be your new identity. You must become the person who already has it, who already knows that it is done, who already feels the relief, the peace, the joy, and the satisfaction of having received. You must carry that feeling with you wherever you go, in every moment and in every thought. The more deeply you live in that state, the more quickly the outer world will adjust to match it. And when you truly live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, there is no room for doubt. There is no room for questioning whether it will happen. You know that it has already happened, and the world must confirm it. This is the power of assumption. This is the law that governs the universe. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, it is as though you are planting a seed in the soil of your mind. The seed may not yet be visible to the naked eye, but it is growing, it is expanding, it is becoming, and in time it will break through the surface and appear in your world. But the key is persistence. You must continue to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even when the outer world does not immediately reflect your assumption. Do not be swayed by what you see or hear. Do not be moved by the apparent lack of evidence. You must remain faithful to the assumption that the desire is already fulfilled. As you persist in this assumption, the outer world must shift to reflect your new reality. The law does not fail, and it does not favor one person over another. It is always responding to the inner state of being. You see, the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the cause of all manifestation. Without it, nothing can come into being. With it, everything is possible. If you desire the lottery win, assume the feeling of already having it. If you desire health, assume the feeling of perfect well-being. If you desire success, assume the feeling of being already successful. The feeling is the key. It is the magic ingredient. And the moment you claim it as your own, the outer world must rearrange itself to bring it to you. The reason why people often fail to manifest their desires is because they are still living in the state of wanting. They are still identifying with lack. But once you step into the state of the wish fulfilled, you will find that everything begins to change. It begins with you, and the world must reflect the changes within you. There is no greater force in the world than your mind. What you consume mentally dictates your experience, shapes your reality, and determines what you manifest. We live in a world of cause and effect, and the greatest cause is not the outer action you take, but the thoughts you entertain, the beliefs you hold, and the feelings you cultivate. It is not enough to act in the world, to do things, to perform tasks, hoping that the external will change. What truly drives change, what truly creates, is what you are thinking and feeling in every moment. Your mental diet, your inner conversation, and your assumptions are the true creative forces. You may believe that you must work hard, struggle, or try harder to make things happen, but this is a misunderstanding of how the law operates. The law does not respond to effort. The law responds to the state of being you occupy, and that state is determined by your mental diet. If your thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, worry, or thoughts of lack, that is the reality you are creating. The mind, which is always working, is either building or tearing down. Every thought you think is either strengthening your desire or delaying its manifestation. And the power lies in your ability to consciously choose your thoughts, to direct your mental focus, and to feed yourself only those thoughts that align with your desires. The most common mistake people make is that they spend all their energy on external actions, working harder, striving more, seeking out opportunities, while neglecting the true work, which is the work within. The outer is a reflection of the inner, and if your inner state is not aligned with what you desire, all the external effort in the world will not bring you the results you seek. It is not about doing more. It is about being more. It is about mentally embodying the state of having already received your desire. The secret lies not in the outer work, but in the inner work, the conscious alignment of your thoughts and feelings with the end result. To change your reality, you must begin by changing your inner conversation. Every moment of every day, your mind is speaking to you, and your thoughts are shaping your reality. Are your thoughts aligned with your desires, or are they in opposition to them? Do you go through your day thinking about what you don't have, what you still need, what you lack? Or are you filling your mind with thoughts of gratitude, abundance, and certainty that what you want is already yours? The thoughts you think most often, the inner conversations you have, are the seeds you are planting in your subconscious. And your subconscious mind, being the creative force that it is, takes those seeds and brings them to fruition. Many people focus on their actions, thinking that doing something will lead to their desires. But if your mental diet is filled with thoughts of doubt, fear, and lack, no action, no matter how well-intentioned, will bring about the results you seek. The mind must first be in alignment with the desire. When you begin to think from the end, to see yourself already in possession of your desire, when you make that assumption and live in it mentally, your actions will naturally align with that state. The actions you take will be in harmony with the reality you are creating. But you must first begin with your thoughts. The power of your mind lies in its ability to shape your inner world, and the inner world always precedes the outer. If you are focused on what you want, but your mental diet is filled with thoughts of how difficult it is to achieve it, how far away it feels, or how many obstacles are in your way, you are not feeding your desire the right energy. You are feeding it doubt. You are feeding it the belief that it is hard, that it is far away, that it is unattainable. And the law must respond to that belief. It cannot bring you the manifestation of your desire if you are not mentally prepared to receive it. Your thoughts must align with the reality you want to experience, not with the reality you are currently seeing. Think about your mental diet in the same way you think about your physical diet. What would happen if you filled your body with junk food, with things that provide no nourishment, no energy? You would feel sluggish, tired, and unwell. The same is true for your mind. If you are constantly feeding yourself negative thoughts, doubts, worries, and fears, you will feel mentally sluggish, confused, and drained. You will find it difficult to make progress because your mind is not properly nourished with the thoughts that will lead you to your goal. The law is always working, whether you are aware of it or not. And the law always brings you more of what you focus on. So if you are focusing on lack, if your mental diet is filled with thoughts of what you don't have or what you're trying to achieve, you are reinforcing the belief that you are still lacking. And the law will bring you more of the same. But if you shift your focus to the feeling of having already received, to the thoughts of abundance, to the gratitude of being already fulfilled, The law will begin to bring you more of that. The key to success in anything, whether it is winning the lottery, achieving financial abundance, or manifesting your dreams, is to feed your mind only those thoughts that align with your desires. Every moment is an opportunity to choose your thoughts, and the more you feed your mind with the thoughts of already having it, the more quickly the outer world will reflect that inner change. You must also be mindful of the people and circumstances you allow into your mental diet. Just as you would be careful of what you eat, you must be equally careful of what you allow into your mind. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who support your dreams, who remind you of your potential. Avoid the negativity, the doubts, and the criticisms of others, for these will only cloud your mind and hinder the manifestation of your desires. Your mental diet is the foundation of everything you want to create. When you nourish your mind with thoughts of abundance, success, and fulfillment, your outer world must eventually reflect that nourishment. You will begin to see changes, opportunities, and circumstances that align with the thoughts you have been feeding yourself. Your actions will become effortless because they will come from the state of having already received, and the world will respond, as it always does, to your inner state of being. The truth that you are the creator of your own reality is both empowering and confronting. It means that the life you are living right now is a result of the thoughts, beliefs, and feelings you have been entertaining, consciously or unconsciously. There is no one else to blame, no one else to point fingers at. The experiences, the people, and the circumstances that surround you are a reflection of your inner world. It is not a random world, nor is it a world of luck and chance. It is a world that responds to your inner assumptions, the beliefs you hold about yourself, the expectations you have, and the stories you tell about the life you lead. You are the source of the world you experience. Many people try to find reasons for their struggles in the external world. They say, if only this had happened differently, or if I had had a different opportunity, I would be successful. But the reality is that no one but you has the power to create the conditions of your life. Every moment you are creating your own reality through the images you hold in your mind, the feelings you choose to dwell in, and the assumptions you make about the world. This is a powerful truth. The sooner you realize this, the sooner you will begin to experience the freedom that comes from taking full responsibility for your life. When you take responsibility for your reality, you stop being a passive observer, waiting for life to happen to you. You become an active participant, knowing that your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions shape the very fabric of your existence. The external world is simply the result of your internal state. If you are dissatisfied with your current situation, you must look inward. Ask yourself, what beliefs, assumptions, or attitudes have I been carrying that have brought me to this point? You are the one who has shaped your reality, and you have the power to reshape it at any moment. This is not to say that external circumstances have no influence on you, but the power lies in how you respond to them. If you react with fear, doubt, or frustration, you are reinforcing the idea that those circumstances have power over you. However, if you respond with calm, confidence, and certainty, you are asserting your power. You are declaring that nothing outside of you can dictate how you feel or how you act. It is your inner state that determines your experience, and you are the one who controls that state. It may be difficult to accept, but the truth is that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are not a victim of the past, and you are not a victim of the future. You are a creator. Your thoughts are creating your world right now. If you want to change your circumstances, you must change your thinking. The shift begins within. It begins with your beliefs about yourself and your world. What do you believe is possible for you? What do you assume about your potential, your worth, your future? Your world is a reflection of your assumptions. And if you want to see change, you must change the assumptions that govern your life. At the heart of this is the idea that you must begin to live in the assumption of your wish fulfilled. You must begin to think from the end, not from the present. The present, as you know it, is simply a reflection of the thoughts and assumptions you have held in the past. If you want to experience something different, you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled in the present moment. Live as if the desire you wish for has already been realized. View the emotions, the relief, the joy, the peace of already having it. The world must conform to your assumption, because your assumption shapes the world around you. It's easy to look around and feel as though life is happening to you. It's easy to feel as though you have little control over what happens. But the reality is that you have complete control. You may not control every external event, but you control how you respond to those events. You control the meaning you give to the situations that arise. And in that power lies the ability to reshape your entire world. It is essential to understand that taking responsibility for your reality does not mean blaming yourself for everything that has happened. It means acknowledging that you have the power to choose a new path. Every thought you think, every feeling you hold, and every belief you entertain is shaping your experience. When you realize this, you gain the ability to change anything in your life. Your world reflects what you believe to be true about yourself and the world around you. If you want to experience abundance, you must first believe that abundance is your natural state. If you want to experience love, you must first believe that you are worthy of love and that love is already present in your life. Taking responsibility for your reality also means acknowledging that your assumptions are constantly being validated by the universe. If you assume that things are difficult, that success is elusive, or that you are not worthy of your desires, those assumptions will be confirmed. But when you shift your assumptions to the positive, to the belief that everything is always working out for you, that success is inevitable, and that you are worthy of all that you desire, the world will begin to reflect those assumptions back to you. Your assumptions do not need to be in alignment with your current reality. You do not need to wait until things change in the external world before you shift your thinking. In fact, the change must begin within you before it can appear outside. By assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, by seeing yourself as already successful, already abundant, already loved, you are stepping into your power as the creator of your reality. Your internal world is the blueprint for the outer world, and as you change the blueprint, the outer world must follow suit. In every moment, you are either reinforcing the reality you have, or you are creating a new one. If you are dissatisfied with your current experience, it is a signal that it is time to examine your thoughts, your beliefs, and your assumptions. What are you holding on to that is no longer serving you? What assumptions are you living by that are keeping you in the same place? You have the power to release those old beliefs and to create a new story, a new narrative for your life. As you take full responsibility for your reality, you realize that nothing is outside of your control. You are the author of your story, and you can rewrite it at any time. The power to change your life lies in your hands, in your thoughts, and in your ability to shift your inner state. The world is not happening to you. You are the creator of all that you experience, and once you embrace this truth, your life will begin to transform in ways you never thought possible. Imagination is not just a faculty of the mind. It is the very tool with which you create your reality. It is the gateway through which the unseen becomes seen, the invisible becomes visible, and the impossible becomes possible. All creation, all manifestation begins in the realm of imagination. The world you experience, the circumstances you face, and the life you live are all a direct result of the images you hold in your mind. What you imagine, you bring into being. Your imagination is not a mere fantasy or daydream. It is the creative power of your being, capable of shaping your destiny. Most people do not fully realize the incredible power of imagination. They have been conditioned to believe that only what they can see, hear, or touch is real. But imagination is the precursor to all reality. Before anything can appear in the physical world, it must first be imagined. The bridge between your inner world and the outer world is built through the images you create in your mind. If you want to change your outer world, you must first change the images you hold within. Imagination is the engine that drives the creative process, and it is through imagination that you bring your desires to fruition. You may think that imagination is simply for children, a tool for creating stories or escaping reality. But imagination is not just about creating make-believe, it is about creating your future. Every great invention, every success story, every achievement ever made has begun with a thought, an image, a vision held in the mind. It was through the power of imagination that someone first saw the possibility of flying, of creating machines, of traveling into space. It is through imagination that we solve problems, innovate, and create. And it is through imagination that we shape our own lives. If you can imagine it, you can have it. There is no limit to what your imagination can create. To begin, it is important to understand that imagination does not require the support of your five senses. It does not need to be verified by the physical world. Imagination is an internal experience, and it works regardless of what is happening in your external world. The key is to assume that what you imagine is already real. The more vividly and convincingly you imagine your desire, the more real it becomes to your subconscious mind, and the more your external world will adjust to match it. When you use your imagination, you are not merely picturing something in your mind, you are experiencing it. The images you form in your mind must be filled with emotion, with feeling, with the conviction that what you are imagining is happening now. The feeling is the most important aspect of imagination. It is not enough to merely think about something. You must feel as though it is already true. The moment you fully embody the feeling of your desire, you are impressing it upon your subconscious mind, and it will begin to work to bring that desire into your reality. Imagination, when used correctly, becomes the force that propels you toward your goals. The power of imagination is that it is not limited by time or space. You can imagine any future you wish to experience, and the more you imagine it, the more it becomes your reality. You do not have to wait for the external world to change before you begin imagining your desires. You do not have to wait for the right circumstances or conditions. In fact, the circumstances and conditions you seek are created through imagination. By vividly imagining the outcome you desire, you are planting the seeds of that outcome in your subconscious mind, and the universe must align with your inner vision. Consider for a moment that your imagination is the mold through which your reality is shaped. It is as though you are an artist and your life is the canvas. The images you create in your mind are the brush strokes that form the picture of your life. The more clear, vivid, and detailed the image, the more real it becomes. When you begin to see yourself as already in possession of your desire, already living the life you want, you will find that the external world must begin to conform to that image. The world around you is merely a reflection of what you have imagined. Many people make the mistake of believing that their current circumstances are the result of external forces, that they are simply victims of their situation. But the truth is that your circumstances are the result of your inner images. What you experience on the outside is a direct reflection of what you hold in your mind. If you want to change your reality, you must first change your inner images. It is not about changing the outer world directly. It is about changing your thoughts, your beliefs, and your imagination. When you imagine the desired outcome, you are sending a clear signal to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious will bring that outcome into your life. Imagination is not confined to just a few thoughts here and there. It is a constant process that you must consciously engage in. Your mind is always active, always creating, whether you are aware of it or not. Therefore, the key is to actively direct your imagination toward your desires. In every moment, you have the ability to choose what you imagine. Will you imagine the worst-case scenario, or will you imagine the best? Will you see yourself as defeated by circumstances, or will you see yourself as already victorious? The choice is yours, and the power is in your hands. The process of using your imagination to create your reality is not about forcing it or trying to make it happen. It is about aligning with the flow of your desires and feeling the reality of them. The more you imagine something, the more you will begin to believe it. And once you believe it, it is only a matter of time before it becomes your reality. It is a natural law. The world around you must reflect what you believe to be true. Imagination, therefore, is not just a tool, it is the foundation of all creation. The more vividly and consistently you imagine the life you desire, the more certain it becomes that it will manifest in your world. Do not wait for the outer world to change before you begin imagining your desires. Imagine them now with all the feeling and emotion that you would experience if they were already true. The moment you begin to live from that place of imagination, the world will respond, and it will bring your desires into physical form. You may not realize it, but everything you experience in your life is the result of assumptions you have made, consciously or unconsciously, about how things are, how they should be, and how they must unfold. Assumptions are the beliefs you hold about yourself, about others, and about the world around you. They are the invisible forces shaping every aspect of your reality. What you assume to be true is what you experience, for the world reflects the inner state of your mind. The most powerful tool you have at your disposal is your ability to consciously choose your assumptions, and in doing so, to create the life you desire. Your assumptions are not limited to the way things are. They extend to the way you believe things will be. The future is not set in stone. It is a fluid, dynamic experience that flows according to the assumptions you make about it. What you assume about the future determines how it unfolds. If you assume that you are destined for success, that wealth and abundance are inevitable, that opportunities will come your way, then the world will begin to align with those assumptions. But if you assume that things will always be difficult, that your desires are unattainable, or that failure is inevitable, then those assumptions will manifest as your reality. It is important to recognize that your assumptions are not necessarily based on what you see in the external world. In fact, the external world often does not reflect your desires in the beginning. The external is simply a reflection of your past assumptions, your past beliefs, and your past thoughts. The key to changing your reality is to change your assumptions. The moment you begin to assume that your desires are already fulfilled, the moment you begin to feel the reality of them in the present moment, the process of manifestation begins. This is the secret. By assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you align yourself with the end result, and the universe begins to respond. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are not waiting for the external to change first. You are acting as though the desire has already been realized. And this assumption begins to influence your thoughts, your actions, and the way you interact with the world. You begin to live from the end. And as you do, the external circumstances must eventually align with that internal assumption. The world as you experience it is a reflection of your internal state. What you assume to be true about yourself and your desires is what you will experience. Therefore, it is essential that you examine the assumptions you hold. If you are facing a challenge, for instance, you may be tempted to assume that the challenge is insurmountable, that it will never be resolved. But this assumption will only reinforce the difficulty of the situation. The key is to shift your assumption to one of victory. Assume that the challenge is already resolved, that everything is working in your favor, and that the desired outcome is already yours. When you do this, you begin to live from the state of having already received your desire, and that assumption will inevitably manifest in your life. The process of creation starts with the assumption that the thing you desire has already happened. You must live in the state of fulfillment before it becomes apparent in the physical world. Your assumptions are powerful because they directly influence your thoughts, feelings, and actions. When you assume something to be true, you begin to think from that assumption, and your thoughts create your experience. For example, if you assume that you are worthy of love, you will begin to think and act in ways that reflect that belief. You will carry yourself differently, you will interact with others differently, and you will attract relationships that align with your assumption. On the other hand, if you assume that you are unworthy of love, you will think and act in ways that reflect that assumption, and you will attract experiences that reinforce that belief. The key is to change your assumptions. The power of assumption lies in the fact that your subconscious mind is always working to bring into reality the assumptions you hold. It does not question whether your assumptions are true or false. It simply works to make them real. This is why it is so important to consciously choose your assumptions. The moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, your subconscious mind begins to work on your behalf, orchestrating events, people, and circumstances to bring about the manifestation of your desire. The process of assumption is not about waiting for external evidence to support your belief. It is about creating the inner feeling of having already received your desire. Your subconscious mind does not respond to external circumstances. It responds to the feeling you have about your desire. Therefore, if you assume that your desire is already fulfilled and you feel that fulfillment deeply, your subconscious will begin to bring about the conditions necessary to make that assumption a reality. The world will respond to the inner state you occupy, and the manifestation will follow. This is where the concept of living from the end comes into play. Instead of trying to make things happen through external effort or force, you must begin by mentally living in the end result. Feel the emotions of success, abundance, love, or fulfillment as though they are already yours. Assume that you are already living the life you desire. The moment you do this, you begin to experience the feelings associated with your desire, and those feelings begin to shape your reality. The process of manifestation starts with assumption. And assumption is the foundation of all creation. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to act as if you already have what you desire. It is to immerse yourself in the reality of your desire, to feel the emotions that you would feel if your desire were already realized. This is the most powerful act of creation you can engage in. The more vividly you imagine and feel the fulfillment of your desire, the more real it becomes to your subconscious mind, and the more it begins to take shape in your outer world. Your assumptions are the mold into which your reality will be poured. The key is to hold firm to the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled and to live from that assumption until the outer world catches up with your inner state. Ultimately, your life is a reflection of the assumptions you make. The external world will always reflect your inner beliefs, thoughts, and feelings. If you want to change your reality, you must change your assumptions. Begin to assume that your desires are already fulfilled, and the outer world will eventually respond to that assumption. Your assumptions are the creative force behind all manifestation, and by consciously choosing your assumptions, you can create the life you desire. Then, faith is a word often misunderstood and misused. In the conventional sense, faith is usually associated with religious or spiritual belief. However, in the context of creation and manifestation, faith takes on a more profound and practical meaning. It is not merely the hope that something will come to pass. It is the unshakable belief that your desire is already yours, even before you can see any evidence of it in the physical world. Faith, in this sense, is the belief in the unseen, the belief that your inner assumptions are powerful enough to shape your reality. To understand the true power of faith, you must first recognize that everything in your life is a result of your inner beliefs and assumptions. The external world as you know it is simply a reflection of the inner world. What you hold to be true on the inside is what will manifest on the outside. Faith is the bridge that connects the inner world to the outer world. It is the belief that the unseen, the unmanifested, is as real as what you can physically perceive. Faith is the foundation upon which all manifestation rests. Without faith in the unseen, there can be no manifestation. The process of manifestation begins with a desire, a clear and definite goal. But a desire without faith is like a seed planted in barren soil. It will not grow. Faith is the soil in which the seed of your desire must be planted. When you have faith, you are planting that seed with the full belief that it will grow, bloom, and bear fruit. Faith is the trust in the process, the knowing that what you have imagined is already on its way to you. It is the absolute conviction that your desires are already a part of your reality, even though they have yet to materialize in the physical world. Faith is not passive. It is not merely a wish or a hope that something will happen. Faith is an active force, an energy that moves through you and shapes your thoughts, actions, and responses to the world around you. When you have faith, you live as though your desire has already been fulfilled. You do not wait for external conditions to change. You act as if they have already changed. You do not wait for the evidence to appear in the physical world before you believe in it. You believe in it first, and the evidence must follow. Faith is the unwavering belief that your desire is already yours, and it is the most powerful force in the process of creation. The key to understanding faith is to recognize that it is not about believing in something that is outside of yourself or beyond your control. Faith is the belief in your own creative power, in your ability to shape your reality through your thoughts and beliefs. It is the trust that your imagination, your assumptions, and your inner state are powerful enough to create the life you desire. When you have faith, you do not doubt your ability to create. You do not question whether your desires are possible or whether you are worthy of them. You simply believe that they are already a part of your experience, and you trust that the universe will respond in kind. Faith is also about surrendering to the process. It is about releasing any attachment to how or when your desire will manifest. The moment you try to control the how or the when, you are doubting the process. Faith requires trust and patience. It requires you to believe that the universe is always working in your favor, that the conditions necessary for your desire to manifest are being aligned in ways that you may not be able to see. The path to your desire may not always be clear, and the timing may not always align with your expectations. But faith allows you to trust that everything is unfolding perfectly, even if you cannot yet see the full picture. When you have faith, you allow the process to unfold naturally without forcing or rushing it. One of the most important aspects of faith is that it is not dependent on external evidence. The world may not immediately reflect your desires, but that does not mean that your desires are not on their way. Faith is the belief that what you have imagined is already in the process of becoming a reality, even if you cannot see it yet. It is the belief that your inner state is the cause of your external world, and that your desires are already manifesting, even when you cannot yet perceive them with your physical senses. Faith is the knowing that the unseen world is just as real as the physical world, and that the unseen world will eventually be revealed in physical form. In order to truly cultivate faith, you must learn to quiet the doubts and fears that arise within you. Doubt is the enemy of faith. It is the belief that what you desire is not possible or that you are not worthy of it. When you doubt, you weaken the power of your faith and you create resistance to the manifestation process. Faith requires you to overcome doubt, to trust that your desires are already yours, and to feel the emotions associated with that fulfillment. The more you feel the emotions of already having your desire, the stronger your faith becomes, and the quicker your desire will manifest in the physical world. Faith also requires you to embrace the unknown. It is easy to have faith when everything is going according to plan, when the evidence is clear and the path is obvious. But true faith is most powerful when you cannot see how your desire will come to pass. It is in those moments of uncertainty, when the external world gives no indication that your desire is on its way, that faith becomes the most essential. Faith allows you to see beyond the current circumstances, to trust that the universe is working on your behalf, even when you cannot see the results yet. It is the belief that what you have imagined will surely come to pass, even if it takes time. Faith is not about passively waiting for something to happen. It is the active belief that what you have imagined is already real, and that it is only a matter of time before it becomes visible in your physical experience. Faith is the unwavering trust that the process of creation is always at work, even when you cannot yet see the evidence of it. When you have faith, you know that the universe is constantly aligning to bring your desires into form. Your faith fuels the process of manifestation, and it is through your faith that your desires will come to fruition. The power of manifestation lies within you, and it is accessible through your thoughts, assumptions, imagination, and most importantly, faith. Your reality is a reflection of what you believe to be true, and by consciously choosing empowering assumptions and engaging your imagination to vividly picture your desires, you are taking the first step in shaping your life. The process of manifestation begins within your mind. What you assume to be true, what you believe to be possible, and what you have faith in will be reflected in your external circumstances. Imagination, in its truest form, is not just a tool for dreaming or escaping reality. It is the very mechanism through which the unseen becomes seen, the invisible becomes tangible. The key to manifesting anything lies in assuming the feeling of your desire as already fulfilled, living from the state of its completion. As you cultivate this feeling within yourself, your external reality begins to shift in alignment with it. Your assumptions, those beliefs and expectations you hold about yourself and your world, are the foundation of the life you experience. Whether you realize it or not, your assumptions are constantly shaping your experiences. By changing these assumptions, especially about what is possible for you, you initiate the process of change in your life. The outer world is a reflection of your inner world, and the moment you decide to shift your beliefs, your reality will follow suit. Faith is the essential fuel that powers this creative process. It is the unwavering trust that the desire you hold in your heart is already real, even if you cannot see it yet. Faith is not simply about hoping for something to happen. It is about living as though it already exists, feeling the emotions associated with it, and trusting that the universe will align to bring your vision into form. When you have faith, you activate the process of manifestation, trusting the unseen, knowing that your desires are already in motion. To manifest your desires, you do not need to wait for the external world to give you permission to dream. You must first believe in the possibility of your desires, then imagine them with such vividness and emotion that they become an undeniable part of your internal world. When you do this, your assumptions will align with your desires, and the external world will begin to reflect your internal state. In every moment, you have the power to change your life. It begins with choosing the images you focus on, the assumptions you hold, and the faith you embody. When you trust in the process and live from the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you will see the world around you begin to shift in response. The process of manifestation is not something that is far out of reach. It is a natural law that you can tap into at any time. The world is yours to shape, and it all begins within your mind. So take charge of your thoughts, assume the best for yourself, and trust that what you desire is already in the process of becoming your reality. The power lies within you, and as you begin to live from the end of your desires, the universe will follow suit, bringing your dreams to fruition.